Good afternoon, YouTubers. Welcome back in to another edition of Astros Recap. David Artis here. It is Tuesday, March 14th, 2023. So it's been about a month, a little more than a month actually, since I spoke to you last. But it's a rare Tuesday where I'm actually not working. So I feel like I've worked every Tuesday the last few months. So since I had the day off, thought it'd be a good time to get on. Get you caught up on some Astros baseball, Astros news. A lot of this won't be breaking news, but since I spoke to you last, some things have gone down. First thing that comes to mind, obviously, is the new general manager. That is Dana Brown. Again, we have to wait and see. I can't judge a guy until some moves are made. I will be judging him on the curve. Obviously, Jeff Leno, the GOAT, no longer here, got fired. James Click did a very good job in he's actually here 3 years, but the first year was the COVID year, so there were no real moves made. The only real move made that year, when I look back at things, was Brooks Raley. And all things considered, that was not a good pickup. But in 2021 and 2022, come trade deadline, he made the moves. And he made multiple moves to fill the needs the team needed, basically. I mean, in 21, adding the 4 relievers, he did. 2021, adding Mancini, Vasquez. Will Smith didn't really work out. And I think back to last year, just real quick here, the moves they made, none of them factor. Like, Mancini was just absolutely horrific. He had a little 4 or 5 game stretch where he hit like 3 or 4 home runs. After that, he was nothing. Vasquez, like, they didn't play him. It's just weird. He had that big, I guess the big thing he did in the playoffs was that insurance run in Game 6 where he had that base hit, but they didn't use him enough to really get a good gauge on whether, I don't know, I just thought I thought there'd be more of a 50-50 split with Moldy and Vasquez catching last year after the trade was made. And it just felt like Moldy was still catching 80% of the games. So, but yeah, Mancini was horrific. Will Smith was terrible. And Vasquez, there just wasn't enough. So, like, the moves they made last year to improve the team actually didn't really make a big difference in the end. The Astros still won the World Series, so things were good in that regard. But, so Dana Brown, apparently former job, what he was doing, in the Braves system, like, I think, I could be wrong on the exact job title here, but it's like Vice President of Scouting with the Braves. That's a pretty impressive resume, at least. Well, again, time will tell, because we just don't know yet. But there are a lot of people that, are sort of need contracts, or what are you going to do with them? And we'll talk about a little bit of that here in a little bit, but Dana Brown is in charge, and I don't know the length of the deal, the extent there, but at least for now, for the foreseeable future, he will be the GM. So, and we will see how well he can do. So, but yeah, you got him. Obviously, Dusty Baker's back. We discussed that. Jim Crane's also right there. I mean, he's got the money. He's got the checkbook. So, they got a lot of interesting decisions coming up. Right now, like I said, March 14th, 3:34 p.m. The World Baseball Classic is going on now. I mentioned I might sort of break that down. I'm not really going to go in depth there, but that is a fun thing for me right now. USA actually is off today. They did win their first game against Great Britain, 6-2. They got absolutely shellacked in Game 2 by Mexico. And they beat down Canada pretty good last night. So day off today, but they're looking good as in terms that they should move on to the second round. I'm not really going to go in depth there. There's games going on all day. In fact, if I pull up my phone right now, the first game, Venezuela beat Nicaragua 4-1, and Canada's up on Colombia 1-0. That's the bracket we care about because we have to deal with. We haven't played Colombia yet. We'll play Colombia tomorrow. Like I said, we beat Canada, lost to Mexico, and beat Great Britain. So Colombia is the last team that we'll play, and then after that, everything shakes out, and top 2 teams from each pool move on. Give you a quick update on the other pools. Cuba, Italy in Pool A move on. Japan and Australia in Pool B move on. And Pool C and Pool D are still playing. Venezuela is going to move on because they're 3-0. That is in Pool D. And Puerto Rico, that'll be an interesting one. Dominican Republic play later tonight. They play at 6, so yeah, I'll be interested in watching that game. But that Pool D, USA is in Pool C. That Pool D is interesting because Venezuela, who is 3-0, the top 2 teams in that pool is Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. At least going in, that was definitely the two top teams. But Venezuela is 3-0, so one of those 2 teams isn't going to make it. So it'll be interesting to see. But Dominican, going into this World Baseball Classic, were the favorites. I think it was Dominican, Japan, USA. Those are the 3 teams in that order. Dominican, Japan, US. But one of those 2 teams looks like they're going to get knocked out. We'll see. But Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic are close in terms of the just the talent they have, basically. So, but I'm interested. It's baseball. It's a fun thing. Obviously, it's like the Olympics. It's a once every 4-year type deal. Obviously, COVID delayed this thing 2 years, so I wasn't really invested way back in 2005, 2009. Not really. 2013, I think, was the first year I actually got really into it. Obviously, really into it in 17. It took 6 years. So, but it's something I get into. So obviously, rooting for the U.S. and watching their games is fun. To finally have baseball back. Hasn't been that long though. I mean, the Astros played in November, winning the World Series. So. Yeah, but to get back on track, I don't want to dive too far into that, just to give you a quick update. And probably next time I talk to you, it'll all be over and done with, and I might even forget about it. So, but that was just a quick WBC update there for you. So, moving forward, Astros. Some injuries to talk about here, and then we'll talk about some of the contracts, my thoughts. The Astros, all right, injury front. So, I'm going to try not to get myself worked up here because I think about one guy right off the bat, and we'll talk to about that in just a minute. Those of you that actually watch my podcast or listen to me, you probably already know who I'm talking about. We'll get to that in a minute. Try to stay calm and not get worked up here. Michael Brantley will not be ready for opening day. So they signed him on a 1-year deal, so low risk, I guess. He would play left field, and although I'll never agree with this, I like Alvarez. Well, I like Jordan Alvarez to not play the field. I'd like him to be the full-time DH because I don't want my best hitter, a guy like Alvarez who's tall, I mean, strong. I don't want him playing the field. I really don't. I'd rather just like him to be a DH. I don't think he's a terrible left fielder. I haven't seen a lot of... He's had some good plays, some good throws. I don't want to see him, running full speed after fly balls and diving to make catches, because that's just an injury waiting to happen, in my opinion. Now, the left field at Minute Maid Park, obviously, it's a lot less ground to cover. Obviously, it's not a big, left field like some other ballparks. But Alvarez is going to get the majority of the starts, at least early on. He's probably going to play a lot of left field. I mean, I'd say at least 60, 70, maybe even 80% of the games out in left field. I might give him a few days. But Brantley is not ready for opening day. It feels like he's been hurt for a year now. I mean, this is Lance McCullers type stuff here. I mean, we'll talk about Lance in a minute, but Brantley got hurt like midway through last year. Might have been even earlier than that, like May, June. I don't know the exact date he got hurt, but he got hurt, and he didn't come back, and whatever injury it was, he wasn't at least recovering at the speed they were hoping, and they ended up just saying, yeah, he's done for the year. So I assume it's the same injury. He's still rehabbing, but hopefully he's not out too long, and hopefully we get him back by the end of April. Usually when they give you a time length of injury, I usually add at least a week or two to that because, I mean, think about it. When Brantley gets healthy, he's going to have some work in terms of spring training, whatever. He needs some rehab in some way, shape, or form. So I'll just say the end of April, but I don't have a timeline or anything. All I heard last update on Brantley is he's not ready for opening day. We move forward. Alvarez, who's playing left field, is dealing with the same hand issue he's been dealing with the majority of last year. So what do these guys do in the offseason? It's like, I mean, that the hand issue feels like something, whether it needs surgery, is something you should have done or worked on in the offseason. Here we are, spring training, and it's the same issue. I just don't get it. What they do with Alvarez is they give a few days off. I don't know what that's done. It's a recurring issue. I don't know how bad it is. Apparently he's swinging a bat again, so hopefully Alvarez will be ready by opening day. But if he's not, who do you play in left field? David Hensley? I don't know, but hopefully Alvarez is feeling good and trending in the right direction, and hopefully he's going to be ready and good to go on opening day. Here we go. Lance McCullers. When is he not hurt? Let's be honest. Lance McCullers at this point, I am just so done and gone with him. I don't want him on this team. I don't think they need him. I'm just sick of the headache Lance McCullers causes us every single year. He doesn't know how to throw a pitch without his arm falling off. I mean, this dude every single year from 2016 when he was first called, 2015 he was called up. 16, 17, 18, 19, dismissed 20, 21, 22, now 23. Every year he's been hurt on the IL at some point. I'm just done, sick of it. I mean, he threw his first bullpen session, 30 pitches, whatever it was. Arm soreness, shut him down. He's not ready for opening day either. I don't care about Lance McCullers. I don't want to hear his name again. I wish they would trade him. Although nobody will pick up his $85 million contract, so there's no way you can trade him unless you agree to pay like half that salary. Astros aren't interested in doing that. I'm just sick and tired of Lance McCullers. They have starters. And the way I look at the rotation right now, without Lance McCullers, Valdez, okay, Javier, you sort of flip-flop Urquidy and Garcia any way you want, 3-4 there. Hunter Brown, 5th. I also think, not right now, probably mid-season, September call-up type thing, Forrest Whitley makes an appearance. And I have finally high hopes for him. He's sort of in the McCullers category, though, because he's been injured multiple times, I assume. We all know he had that PED suspension with the Adderall he was taking or whatever it was. But I think he can figure himself into this, whether it's bullpen, starting, rotation at some point. It's time for Forrest Whitley. So I feel like it's now or never for him. So we'll wait and see. But those are the three injuries. Your left field might be an issue come opening day, unless Alvarez is good to go. I haven't heard any news on Alvarez. Last thing I think I heard was he was swinging a bat, and this was late last week. So he's got 3 weeks here to get things going. But Brantley's not going to be ready. Everything else I think is pretty good, so nothing too bad. I mean, McCullers is just always hurt, so at this point just expect it and just move on. But I'm just so sick and tired of Lance McCullers and the headache he causes every year. You know. And I heard a press conference after he got hurt. Maybe he's spoken since. I don't know. This was right after he got hurt. He needs to start taking accountability for his injuries. I mean, it's just every year. Like, you get injured once or twice, I get it. Some players are just injury prone. He certainly is. But take accountability. And I just felt like he really didn't do that. He just talked about the timetable. His timetable means nothing to me because, I mean, this is the same guy that got hurt, in the ALDS in 2021. And I can't pin this on McCullers. I can pin a billion things on Lance McCullers, but who was it when he got hurt in 2021 playoffs? Who was it that said this wasn't serious? If that was Lance McCullers, then his word means absolutely zero to me because Somebody said that. I assume it's McCullers. That said this isn't serious, and yeah, he didn't come back till September, so he was out almost like 10, 11 months last year. So if you tell me something's not serious and you end up being out that long, his word means absolutely nothing to me when it in terms of timetable to his injury. So we'll probably see McCullers at some point, but just, knowing McCullers, probably during his rehab, he'll probably just get hurt again, out for the year. I'll just bank on that. I don't think they need him in the rotation. I don't think he's that good, A. He stunk in Game 4 of the playoffs. It was Game 4? No, Game 3. Game 3, he was atrocious. 5 home runs. He had 5 home runs. I don't think they need him, and I'm just sick and tired of the headache with Lance McCullers. So, but I did stay calm for the most part there. Now we'll move to the contract situations here. So Jordan was the last contract they made, and it was 6 years. He'll be here for a while now. Looking forward, for you guys, Kyle Tucker's the big one. What do you do with Kyle Tucker? So Kyle Tucker lost his arbitration. He's already upset with the Astros because he didn't win his arbitration case. So he's not happy with. He's not happy with how that turned out. He thought he was worth a few extra $1 million, and the Astros said no, and he lost the case. Anyway, you have him this year, and I think you got control over him next year, and then he's a free agent. The Astros, we know they don't like long-term deals. And by long-term, I mean 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, even 13-year deals. They might go 7 or 8, might. I mean, think about Alvarez. If he's your best player, and at this point he is, at least from a hitting standpoint, they gave him 6 years. So, I don't know. But the way I look at this, the Astros don't like long-term deals, and they don't give players long-term deals. Like Altuve and Bregman were 5-year deals. And you look up, and their contracts are almost up, so you got to think about them as well. But when I look at things, the Astros, so yeah, they don't like long-term deals. Other clubs, there's 29 other teams that are willing to give players 10-year deals. The Astros do not. Obviously, players need to get paid. They want the money. They're going to go where the money is. That's what happened with Springer. That's what happened with Correa. Kyle Tucker's not going to stay with Houston for, $10, $20, $30 million less. He's going to go somewhere else. The Astros, I understand not giving a player a 10-year deal because the first half might work out great. Second half, not so much, especially as they get older. Now, Tucker's only 25, I think. So you could, 25, 26, you can give him 10 years and contracts up when he's 35, 36, and you probably worked out pretty well there. But when you're paying a guy who's 28, 29, 10 years, Bryce Harper got 13 years, I think, $330 million, no opt-outs in Philly. But we've seen a lot of these contracts, 10-year deals, not work out. Albert Pujols is a prime example. Miguel Cabrera is another example. So I see the point. However, whether it's right or wrong, another team's going to give them that deal. So you're going to lose your players if you can't play on the same level as the other teams because the other teams are going to do it. Springer, Correa, they let both of them go. I won't bring up Garrett Cole because he wasn't. No one was going to pay $300 million for Garrett Cole except the Yankees, and he's not even like Garrett Cole. He's fine, but he's not really like he's their number one because they have to have a number one, but he's not like dominant like he was with the Astros in 2018. So, or was it 2019? It was 2019. I think it was the year where he was insanely good. That sounds right. Yeah. Yeah, last year in Houston was 2019. But you got to find a way to play on this level playing field with the other teams because if you don't, you're going to lose your players. Bregman will be up soon. Altuve will be up soon. Tucker's the big guy. There's somebody else in the mix there. They signed Abreu for 3 years, a little more than $30 million to play first base. That's a fine deal. Maldy's back for another year, I guess, right? Yeah, Maldy's back. But Bregman will be up. Payne, you don't have to worry about him. He's still on his rookie deal for a few. We'll see. I'm putting a big spotlight this year over Alex Bregman, because Bregman's got to show me a lot. He's been vastly overrated, Alex Bregman. Vastly. He had one good month last year. One good month. It was August. Now, he had some postseason success, so I'll give him some credit there. But, he stunk for the majority of last year. Like I said, regular season, one good month. It was August. That was it. August. That was a good month. That was it. So, big spotlight on Bregman to step things up offensively. You go back to 2021. He was actually hurt for the majority of that year, or at least half of it. So, there's that. 2020, I throw that out the window. The entire team was bad that year. 2019, I don't know if it was 18 or 19. One of those years in 18 or 19, he really looked like I think he came in second in MVP voting. And it was the year right after, because I remember him getting upset. So 16, he came up late. Or not maybe super late, but he played a little bit, got hurt. The Astros didn't make the playoffs. They brought him back towards the very end, last few games. 2017, I want to say, I don't know what year it was, but he complained. At the season end, he wanted big money, and he complained. So the Astros caved and said, all right, we'll give you $20 million over 5 years. Or $100 million over 5 years, so $20 million a year, which he signed. And then he had the incredibly great season where he came in second in MVP voting. And if he was smart, he just would have waited the year and made probably more, a lot more. But he didn't. So after that year, I was like, well, the Astros are getting a steal here. They're only paying Bregman $20 million a year, and if he continues the production that he's at, which he hasn't, so now I feel like the Astros are not getting a good deal, and Bregman's probably making better on that 5-year deal. But Tucker's the big guy. What do they end up doing? And if they don't get something done by the end of spring training, then you go into the season. Usually deals don't happen mid-season. Players aren't worried about, they obviously care about their money and what they make, but come regular season, it's about playing baseball. It's not about negotiating contracts. So we'll see what takes place here. But still, they still have him this year and next year. He can't, he's not a free agent, unrestricted until 2025, I think. Yeah, sounds right. So, they might let him walk if they can't, and he's not happy now because he lost his arbitration case. So, we'll see. Team still looks good. I talked about the injuries, talked about the starters without Lance McCullers. Bullpen still, I'm intrigued here. Can Montero sort of do what he did last year? Can Abreu continue his success he had last year? Still got Maton there. He's probably the worst of the bunch. God, I really hope Blake Taylor's not there. I get worked up about that as well, but they don't have a left-handed reliever unless it's Blake Taylor. And I like to go into every season sort of with a fresh slate, but why is it so hard for the Astros to get a viable left-handed reliever? It's just impossible, it feels like. Brooks Raley, Blake Taylor. You go down the list of lefties they've had that just haven't been good. It's every year. They can't get, Will Smith they tried it and it didn't work. It's just every year it's just there's a lefty issue. I don't think they need a lefty. I don't think they need one. But it's just that it'd be nice to have one, obviously, but the Astros just for some reason need a lefty, and if he's terrible, well, he'll make the team because he is a lefty. Lefties get free passes. Another thing I've said many times. Yes. But you have Bregman, Pena, Altuve, Jose Abreu, Maldy. Left field will be interesting. It'll come up any day, but it will be mostly Jordan Alvarez would be my guess. Center field's the other issue I have. Obviously, I'm not a big Chas McCormick guy. Just reading an update there on Aaron Rodgers. Waiting for the big decision here. I don't like Chas. Chas McCormick can't hit well enough to be an everyday player. He plays a great defense, but he swings and misses an excessive amount and strikes out way too much. The other option, Jake Myers, big injury, never really recovered last year. Still think he's got the upside. I still want him to be the guy, but he has to prove it, and he didn't last year when he came back. So I assume both of them make the team, the 26-man roster coming out of spring training, and then I'm hoping Jake Myers takes control. Because Chas McCormick is not everyday center fielder. He's just not. He's not. He plays a great center field. And please, 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 I do not want to hear anybody, especially Astros Twitter. God, I cannot stand them. I don't want to hear anybody bring up the Game 5 catch last year. Great catch. Save the game. I get it. That's over. Done with. Season's over. Let's move on. We're back to Chas McCormick. Plays a good center field. He does. But can't hit well enough to be an everyday player. Just it's that simple. You got Tucker in right field. That wraps up your position players. Corey Lee will get a shot. First chance at backup catching duties. The way the Astros use Maldonado, though, he might not get a lot of opportunities. I mean, let's be honest. David Hensley is sort of their utility guys. Alemnis Diaz has moved on. I liked Alemnis Diaz. However, he can never stay healthy. We'll see if David Hensley can sort of step up as the new utility guy. Forgetting a few other guys. Obviously, I'm not in baseball mode right now, but that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. But relievers, obviously, Presley still your closer. Montero, Abreu, Neris. You got three guys there. Hopefully Neris, Hector Neris scares me. But, I mean, you potentially got three setup guys, which is pretty good, I would say. We'll see what they do with lefty. God, if it's Blake Taylor, it's going to kill me inside. Phil Maton is still there. There's a few other guys I'm missing, I know. But we'll wait and see. Seth Martinez might find him ways. He was fine last year, so. I'm missing a few relievers. I might get on right before the season starts to give you the full roster. That's what I'll plan to do. But we're kind of at almost 4 o'clock, so I'll wrap things up there. Again, comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I missed a few things, so please feel free to fill me in. Like the video, share it with your friends, all the good stuff there is to do on YouTube. But I will most likely, season starts like on a Thursday or Friday. Like we're less than 3 weeks away, so. But it starts coming up here, and then I'll probably get into things, I want to say right before the season starts, and then it will be this might turn into a Monday weekly podcast when the season starts, because Monday will be an off day for me because I'm going to be working weekends like I always do now. But Monday will be the off day, so that might end up being my podcast date. We'll make it up as we go along, but I'll wrap things up there. Talk to you next time.